Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ticket to Life. I think I started the podcast a little music still playing, but I'm sure you love my drum solo. No, that's not me. It's something I created on GarageBand. I did that in honor of my dad. My dad was a drummer on the side. He had his own combo. Back in the day, that's what they used to call bands, and he used to play jazz, and he used to play the trumpet and the trombone. I don't think he played the saxophone, although my son did try the saxophone in middle school, and it was okay. Band was just not for my son, but my son knows music like crazy, and this is my son's first Father's Day, so happy Father's Day to my son. I hope everyone is doing great. Finally, the rains have stopped in Texas, at least for the past few days. Everything is just like mush. If you're in a shaded area and you walk on the grass, you just hear this. I mean, it just sounds disgusting, but hopefully we'll dry up some and our temperatures hit the 90s right away. So, yeah, it's been an interesting spring, shall I say. I hope that you have had a good week. And did I say welcome already? If I didn't, welcome to Ticket to Live, and thank you for listening. And this is Henrie. I may be repeating myself. I've caught myself repeating myself a lot lately. Cuckoo. So let's hope that doesn't happen a lot. But anyway, actually, I am going to repeat a story today. Maybe I should go see my doctor. And all kidding aside, you get to a certain age and all of a sudden you think, did I already tell you that story? And some people are just so kind. And they go, yeah, but that's okay. My daughter-in-law's, I will tell her, and she says, oh, that's okay. Yeah, that's all right. She's very, because, I tell my stories to many people, and then you forget who you tell them to. So do you have a parent like that or a grandparent? Well, I guess it just happens with your mind. I hope that everyone is doing well. I heard that Atlanta had some problems with their water a few weeks ago, and I hope that's cleared up. I don't know. I think they were having to boil their water. All sorts of stuff is going on in the world, throughout the world, and it is a crazy, crazy time. We could probably, sometimes you go to bed think, wonder if I'm going to wake up in the morning. Have you ever thought that? Probably not. I'm probably the only wacko who has ever thought that. No, sometimes, because, you just don't know. Life is short. You don't know from one day to another. So anyway, lived each and every day as though it's your last. That's the best thing you can do, because like I'm always saying, life is too short. You just don't know when your number's going to come up. Hopefully it doesn't come up anytime soon. But anyway, it's June, and Father's Day is a big deal this month. A big, big deal. Some of us dads have already passed, but hopefully you have great memories. For Mother's Day, I did do a podcast, Good Moms, Bad Moms, and I was going to kind of do the same thing on this one, good dads, bad dads, but we don't want the same similarities to a podcast, although I'm repeating myself, going to repeat a story, an episode. Actually, it's called DNA, You Have a Match. Episode 27, and I did that back in 22, and that's what my main topic is for dads today. You got to be careful what you do with that. So now I know that this is I think that in my opinion, I think parents, moms, and dads need to be celebrated every day of the year. Because being a parent is a tough job. It's not easy. Oh, you have this cute baby, and the doctor forgets at age 18, they're going to up and leave and go to college. They don't prepare you for that. They really don't. I remember telling my gynecologist that. Said, you didn't warn me about this. They're leaving. But kids do grow up so fast. That's why it's so meaningful to spend that time with them. Put the phones down. It is so stinking important. My daughter was telling me that she was somewhere. Oh, I don't remember. She was at a pool or something. And she said she was the only one in the pool with her children, and all the moms were out talking, which I get it. Moms need that social time. Dads need that social time. But they were either chatting with someone or on their cell phones. And it's just, I guess for my daughter, it's just important, especially swimming this time of year. It is so important for us to be very cautious with our kids. I think that a lot of drownings are because parents are not paying attention. I have a nephew who is a paramedic, and he said the majority of the drownings they have, there were adults everywhere, but not paying attention. So please, please, if you have a pool, if you go to the lake, please, one of the best things you can possibly do is teach your kids at least learn to save themselves in the water long enough so they can scream. And I don't mean scream going up and down in a panic, where they can float on their back. It's so stinking important. And I don't think people realize how important it is. They're like, well, we're never near water. We never go to a pool. Well, one day it could happen. And you just don't even think, oh, they'll be fine. They've got a life jacket on. No. If that life jacket is not working correctly, because believe it or not, they don't all work right, it could happen. So anyway, I'm not getting on to you people, but it's just important to teach your kids that. But now, for the single parent, especially the single dads, it has to be tough, right? Mainly because most men were raised to be the man of the house. Yeah, if you lived in yesteryear. Father's Day is an annual holiday honoring dads, fathers, celebrating fatherhood. I have a neighbor, and I've done a podcast with him, Kyle, and he's a single dad. I don't know how he does it. They have 3 children, and he just does it. And he's a pastor, and he is just busy, 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 busy. But he does it, and he's young. He's very young, and he does it. And that's just it. In anything we do in life, parenthood, a job, you just have to do it if you want to be successful. And plus, being a parent, raising children, holy smokes, you're forming these kids to be good people. At least I hope you are. Now, just to let you know that Father's Day, it's held annually, not every day, on the 3rd Sunday of each June. Now, for some, they have no idea who their dad is. And that goes for moms too. Some people don't know who their moms are, but a lot of people don't know who their dads are. And if you are being raised by your mom or a grandparent or an aunt or an uncle, whoever, be sure to celebrate them, because they are doing double duty by raising you and trying to be a good parent, guardian, plus being an aunt and uncle, especially the grandparents. There's so many grandparents raising kids now. I'm not sure if that's fair or not, but if they're put in a certain situation, of course, the loss of a parent, yes. I just, we've done our job. We raised our kids. So it's kind of like, oh, I get to enjoy my grandkids now. Although we have taken care of our grandchildren, but we have not raised them, but it's a hard job. I'm not going to lie, getting up and off the floor, because I'm one who likes to be on the floor with the kids. So if you have lost your dad, and it's hard living, knowing he isn't here. My dad's been gone since I was 13. Just think about him, and I still miss him. But the crazy thing is, he worked so hard that we didn't see much of him. But he did work because he provided for our family. He was a great guy. He really was. Had a personality, did not know one stranger. He had so many friends, I can't even tell you. And you just remember those things about your dad. My daughter wrote something on her social media the other day. She says, what is one thing you remember about your parents when you were growing up? And I got all choked up because it was sweet. She wrote that what she remembers is her dad, my husband, her dad coming in from work and hearing his keys jiggle. He used to have the jingle. He used to have tons of keys. He wasn't a custodian. He just had keys. I have no idea what they were to. He probably didn't either. She says, I remember my dad coming in and hearing the keys jingle and him hanging them up and hearing his boots because he would wear work boots. Um, and I thought that's a sweet memory. And for her, she remembers me waking up. I'd go halfway up the stairs and start singing Rise and Shine. Not Rise and Shine. There's a song, Rise and Shine, and give God the glory, glory. So I would sing this song to wake. So, I mean, parents make those wonderful memories, moms and dads, because your kids are going to hold on and remember those certain things. And they're so dearing. That was so dearing for me to hear that or read that. But anyway, back to grandparents. Grandparents are raising their kids, a lot of them. And some parents are actually taking their kids back in their house and raising their grandkids and allowing their kids to live with them because it's easier. It is easier to have that extra hand. I would have loved to have an extra hand, but I didn't. And I survived. And for some parents, you just need to let them go. They need to go. They need to go. Now, if you're helping them out financially because they're without a job or something, just let them know they've got a deadline. I'm all about deadlines when it comes to something like this. It's like, oh, we love having you, so we'll give you like 3 months and you need to find a job and save your money and then bye. But I know that sounds cruel. I say that easily. I'm not sure if I would do that with my kids, but anyway. So for me, more than likely, I think that if parents can remember how important it is to spend that time, and dad, spend that time with your kids. It's tough. I have a friend and they have their son in everything imaginable. I mean, does great in school, but he's in hockey, does soccer. I want to say he's taking golf lessons. They just keep him busy. But that's great. And they stay there with him sometimes. And I guess they watch him. I don't know. Maybe they're on their phones. I don't know. Let's hope they are there. But they are doing the best they can. They're doing the best. But at one point, you need to understand that your son or your daughter is going to say, I don't want to do this anymore, because they're unhappy. And if they don't, you really can't force kids to do that. We all have to let our kids find their passion, and hopefully it's a good choice. If not, then you do need to sway them in another direction. So dads usually have a special place. And like, does your dad like to go to a special restaurant? Does he like to spend time in a workshop or his garage? Or does he like to just do something special? If he does, especially restaurants, take the time to take him to the restaurant. Or even, if you don't want to take him to a busy restaurant on Father's Day, pick up the food and take his favorite dish there, or make his favorite dish. And if your dad has passed, do something special that day to bring back those memories for yourself. Go to a special restaurant. Go hang out in his backyard. Not sure if you want to hang out in the garage. It might be warm. But if you do, then you should. These are good memories. Now, if someone lives in your dad's old house and you go by, I'm saying you probably should keep driving, because they might call the cops and say someone's stalking their house. Oh, I just wanted to eat in my dad's garage because this was his favorite place. Well, let's not do that, right? Anyway, speaking of calling the cops, we hope they don't call the cops, but if they do, then you better scram. But hopefully you have an understanding officer. First responders. Now, there are parents, moms and dads, who haven't had a chance to celebrate for years due to them working on Sundays. I mean, seriously. Luckily, my son has Mondays off. So his Sundays are Saturdays. His Saturdays are his Fridays. And his Mondays are his Sundays. Did I confuse you? If you notice, I did not do those in order. That's the ADHD or whatever I'm sure I have. But anyway, And they just do it. You just change things. Unfortunately, my whole thing on that is I can celebrate any day. I can celebrate Thanksgiving any time of the year. I can celebrate my birthday. Since my daughter has moved to Kansas, we rarely celebrate holidays on the holiday unless they are visiting or we're visiting. But then my son's not around. So you just have to bend a little. But it is tough. On the actual day, a lot of parents or dads do not get to spend Father's Day on Sunday because they're working. So that's pretty crazy. But I mean, that's what it is. Providing for your family, one of the most important things you can do, and providing for your kids. But don't overextend yourself to try to give them everything. Now, these are, again, my opinions. Because if you overextend yourself and work, you're missing out on a lot. And those are things. You don't want things to replace your love. You want to spend that quality time. I don't care if you spend 20 minutes in the afternoon just talking about anything and everything. It doesn't have to be about your day. It can be about anything. Because parents, we have stories to tell. You have lived a life. You have stories to share. Now, don't tell them everything, especially if you've done something illegal. Keep that to yourself. They'll find out eventually. But you do, and you should share your life with your kids. Because I have heard where kids, their parents have passed away, or their mom or their dad, and say, well, tell me something about your dad. Well, I don't know much. He worked a lot. And we really didn't talk about his life. And if you did have a crappy life, I'm sure there were some highlights in there, especially on the day your child was born. Talk about that. There's always something good. I know, Miss Pollyanna over here, but I really believe you can always find a positive in a negative. You may have to look a little deep, but it's there. So, again, how many of you, have longed to meet your absent dad? And you know that they're out there, and all you know about him is that he helped create you. That's all you know. Mom doesn't talk about him. Mom doesn't say anything. Your dad left, And yes, that's unfortunately, that's such a common story. But have you ever wondered, what if you could be related to a famous person? And he's like, oh no, we got to keep this under wraps. Or maybe a superhero. And that's why you need to keep that identity hidden. Okay, I'm being silly now. But okay, maybe not those things. But I think that I would be scared to find out if they were in prison for some crazy crime. So when you go out seeking, some people may be disappointed. I have a friend who did find his mom because dad raised him, and dad did a great job. When he met his mom, she was okay. She was nice. She was cordial, but could have cared less about spending time with him. Like, she was done. I had the baby. Your dad raised you. I'm done. I really don't want to get to know you. How hurtful that must have been for him. But guess what? He found the positive. And the positive was that his dad raised him as a single dad and did a great job doing it. They have a relationship like no other. So that is the positive. So, a story, I'm about to tell you a story about a dad who was found by using Ancestry on a DNA test. Again, this is on episode 27, DNA. You have a match. If you want to hear that whole story, I'm just going to give you some blips of this. But the listeners, please beware when I'm telling you this, because there's going to be some wives out there going, you need to take a DNA test. And I don't want to start any spats between you. If your husband does not want to take a DNA test, so be it. Don't. Because what are you going to do? if you find out something that you're like, wait, what? And then you find out it's only the kid's 6 months old. No, I'm just kidding about that. But so I've done this podcast, as I said, and this happened actually 5 years ago, 6 years ago. And it's about my family, and it's about my husband. And we had, was that during COVID? No, it was before COVID. Yes, way before COVID. But anyway, so my husband is into the genealogy, he and his brother. And so my husband says, we should do a DNA test. This would be so interesting. I said, sure, why not? I know I have not given any children up for adoption, so I knew I was good. And I have to admit, I was very impressed because I found out that I have all sorts of stuff in me. So it's really interesting. I mean, the regions that were highlighted, I'll just give you a few, were Southern Italy, Mexico, of course, Spain, Cameroon, Congo, Portugal, England, Jewish peoples of Europe. I mean, it broke everything down. And it's really interesting if you're wanting to look into that. Oh, even Wales. Ooh, maybe I'm related to some royalty. Anyway, so it's really interesting to look into that, and you might find out something you really are excited about. And then you can dig deeper and find out, you may have cousins in another country and don't even know it. Cousins of a cousins of a cousins of a cousin. But anyway, so my husband, we do it, and it's great. And we don't get the results right away. So one night we're in bed, and then he goes, hey, I have a match on the DNA. I said, you do? And he says, yes. Well, this is not the actual name of my stepson, because I'm not sure if he wants everyone to know, but I mean, it's nothing to be ashamed of. But anyway, so we are going to call him Kendall. So anyway, and it just said Kendall. And I said, and the picture's like, I mean, it's teeny tiny. And when your eyes are over 60 years old, you're like, I can barely see it. But anyway, so you're looking at this picture, said, oh, that's great. Well, it must be a cousin or something. Because, of course, the name is different. So you're just like, oh, okay. So we look into it, and it couldn't find anything. Well, at that point, my daughter is going to get married that year. So I guess maybe it was 6 years ago. Anyway, and he looks into it and doesn't say anything. I said, have you heard back from that person? He goes, no, haven't heard anything. So my daughter's here, and we're going to have the wedding the following week. And my brother-in-law and sister-in-law come in, and they're here for their yearly visit, and they're going to be here for the wedding. That was really nice that they were here. But anyway, so they're really talking about the genealogy and stuff, and in the car and stuff, and I make the ha-ha comment. Well, I'm just glad it's not a child, so we don't have to pay child support or pay for college again. So we go on, and we get to the house, and they go freshen up, and we're getting ready to have some appetizers with them. And then I mentioned to my husband, I said, wouldn't it be crazy if you had a kid? And then all of a sudden it's kind of quiet. My husband says, honey, I do. I'm like, wait, what? I mean, literally, I'm like, what? And then, of course, first thing, because I don't know anything about this. So first thing I was like, wait, did you cheat on me? Because I was ready to get the old chunkla out, the old flip-flop, and slugging with it. But anyway, and so he goes, no. So then he briefly told me that he did get contact with him. And the reason he didn't tell me because he didn't want to spoil my daughter's wedding. So, of course, then I had 150 million questions. We went and told my brother and sister-in-law. My sister-in-law almost collapsed she'd been traveling, 17 hours on a flight, and then we throw that at her. She was so funny, and we just cracked up at the same time. But it's like, wait, what? Well, maybe we didn't crack up. But anyway, and so we didn't know much about him, and so we decided to lay low. Let's get past the wedding, which we did. And then I told my husband, you need to meet this kid. You need to meet him. And no, my husband did not have an affair. Actually, my husband and I have been married for 40 years, and our stepson is 40. And I know that's but my husband and I only dated for a short time because we knew each other for so long. But anyway, I don't need to explain anything to you. But anyway, so he did meet him. And it is insane how much he looks like my husband or his dad. Now, this story could have taken a turn where I could have been pissed and so mad. But why? It happened many moons ago. And I wasn't mad at my husband. I wasn't mad at my stepson. I was upset with my stepson's mom. Why? Because my husband is a great dad. He is an amazing father. Good husband, too. But I feel as though Kendall really missed out on a great dad. But he was adopted by one of her husbands, by her husband, and he is a very good human being. He is an amazing stepson. He is actually, believe it or not, he's in the police academy right now, following in the old man's footsteps. But but his adopted dad was actually in law enforcement too. So look at that. I guess the mom liked being in uniform. I'm not sure, but I wasn't mad at her, but I just felt like he missed out on so much, and we missed out. We didn't get to see him graduate. We didn't get to see his milestones. And that kind of sucks, but you know what? They've got a good relationship. We don't see them that often. They're not too far from us right now where they live. And my husband or we have extra grandkids, but we don't really see them either. Like I said, we don't see them that much, but they do keep in contact. They talk every 2 weeks or so, and he's a great guy, and I couldn't have asked for a better stepson. But again, listeners beware. If you want your husband to take a DNA test, please, 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 if you find out that you have a stepchild, do not take it out on that stepchild. We actually can't take it out on anybody because it's in the past, unless, of course, the child is about 6 months old or something. Then maybe you probably should go to therapy. But just know it's not the kid's fault. And most importantly, be understanding. Because he's a blessing to us. He's a great guy, and I couldn't ask for a better stepson. So anyway, happy Father's Day. Have a great, great Father's Day, and go do something special for your dad. Go find your blessings. More than likely, it is your dad. Can't wait to see you next week. This is Henrie.